Southern Pacific Transportation Company spins books for zones 81 through 85. Baldwin Park branch. This will be from Claremont to Cactus. I did a segment for Bassett to Claremont and a segment for the Azusa branch. They're all my playlists. It was a very thick document to do. Okay, down here it tells you what SPIN stands for. Southern Pacific Industrial Numbering System. This is how Southern Pacific told their crews where to spot train cars to be loaded and unloaded. These are some of the codes that will be on the paperwork for the crews telling them where to put cars. So you make sure you put boxcars where boxcars go and flat cars where flat cars go. Okay. Starting out for Claremont. Claremont starts down here at the bottom of the page. Claremont Team Track, Lumber Company. They were the last business on the end of the branch. In the 80s, toward the mid 80s, just before the branch went mothballed and then became a trail, this lumber company was the last customer. And they weren't going all the way through to Bassett. They just run locals from, say, West Colton to Claremont, switch out the cars and come back. They very seldom crossed the Santa Fe and continued on. The only train I ever saw cross the Santa Fe in the 80s and continue on to the west to Pomona, whatnot, was a wheat spraying train. And I believe that wheat spraying train was the very last train on the branch. I could be wrong, but you know, a lot of years have gone by. I remember hearing the crew talking on the radio and saying, key doesn't work. And someone from the Santa Fe had to come out and let them in. Okay, so go with our first map. That won't work for me. Second map doesn't work for me. Okay, here's Claremont. Now, if you know anything about downtown Claremont, at one time, the Pacific Electric went down the middle of First Street, crossed at a somewhere after Beakley and onto the other tracks and continued on. And it was joint trackage with Santa Fe. In 1985, there was a track there, but it wasn't connected to anything. It shows Santa Fe here. This track down here that shows is the line that is the Baldwin Park branch. So you cross the Santa Fe in Claremont. This business here was the lumber company. They were the last one still in business in, I believe it was 1986. This is now parking for Metrolink. I designed this parking lot with a city engineer many years ago. It's one of the things I can stick a feather in my hat and say I did. I was staff, so the mayor got credit for it, but hey, I did it. And if you're an adventure top on the east side of this parking lot, right about here is the college facilities. Between college facilities and the Metrolink parking lot at the Claremont Transit Center, you will find intact track right here. Something to check out. Now, currently, this day and age, or actually from about, when Metrolink went into the ground back in the 90s, once this was severed here, there was no service on this line. All tracks were removed, and it's now the Pacific Electric Trail that goes from Claremont all the way to Rialto. And now that they've taken the last portion of the Baldwin Park branch out of service, they'll probably extend it to San Bernardino now. We'll see. Technically, the track is, or the right-of-way is rail banked for future light rail, but with all the NIMBYs and not at my backyard people in Rancho Cucamonga, it probably never happened. Okay, here's maps continuing on. Shows Claremont Boulevard. Shows a spur here. This spur on 8480 was right next to the business I used to work at. I used to work at Palomar Transportation, Laidlaw Transportation right here. And that spur was never used, but for the business. But from time to time, you'd see maintenance away equipment parked there. Whenever they parked maintenance away equipment there, I did not have my camera with me. I did get one shot of the loco going east there in 1986. Here's this avenue, shows Santa Fe tracks down here. Continuing down, unfortunately, this was too new to show the trackage coming down from the old yard here. This was a 3-track yard. The siding and then a stub end track. Came down 4th Street and served packing houses down here. It shows continuation of the tracks past 11th Street. This was a lumber yard. Tracks are still in the parking lot with the stops removed because the trucks kept hitting them. Shows a right of way going that way. Out to Lomo runaround track. Bennett Industries. Wholesale lumber. Track out of service. Etowanda team track. Ponderosa lumber. Etowanda storage track. Vacant tracks. This shows the tracks basically starting out in Upland and going up and through Rancho Cucamonga to the right-of-way, following the right-of-way. This is, like I said, now the Pacific Electric Trail. All tracks are gone, removed. Continuing, there's Haven, Rochester, Etowanda. There's a spur next to the old Etowanda PE station. Tracks are still in the ground. PE station's still there. There's East Avenue showing the track going to the OPE station. Going through North Fontana, but no longer are there any spurs or anything along this line. Like I said, it's now a trail, but off of Sierra and the old right-of-way, there's an old freight depot, which is now the art depot. They got real fancy with the parking lot because they used they used rail as the tire stops. So, something different. That shows going to Lilac, Cactus, and to the branch. So there you have it. Claremont to Cactus and Fontana for the Baldwin Park branch.